Welcome. I'm Harmony Slater, your host of the Finding Harmony podcast. Over the past 20 years, I've taught thousands of yoga teachers and students to explore the intersection between ancient wisdom and modern everyday life, using mind-body practices to heal, awaken, and manifest their dreams from the inside out. This podcast is a sanctuary for those feeling overwhelmed by life's challenges. Are you ready to jump in and discover how these challenges aren't actually in the way, but are the way to finding harmony? Let's invite the magic back in. What do people do when it comes to coaching? Today, I want to walk you through a bit of a process that I use with clients to help them gain consistent results and also start to feel into what it might be like to create clarity around the kind of person that you want to be. And so you can start off by thinking about what it might be like if you woke up tomorrow and something in your life, an unhelpful habit or something that you wanted to change, but you just didn't know how to change it. If it was completely gone, what would that be like? What would that version of you feel like? And getting really honest about where you are now and how important this change might be for you. So in this episode, you're going to go through some different steps around acceptance, identity, radical honesty or radical responsibility. And also then we're going to anchor in some compassionate self-forgiveness and wisdom, looking at how we speak to ourselves when we're trying to make these changes, and how we can start to build more confidence by disrupting some of those loops, those disempowered loops we get in where we might be speaking to ourselves in a way that is not empowered or that feels really negative with the best intentions in mind, but often not the way to create the most effective results. So adding a little grace and compassion, you, I hope, are going to love this episode. It's a solo episode, so grab your pen and a notebook or some paper so that you can go through the process to answer the questions honestly and to create the kind of change that you're looking for in your life. You know, I want to say that everything that you want is actually possible when we start to get really honest with what we want, first of all, and where we're at and what's getting in the way. So if this episode and this process is speaking to you, then I would love to invite you into a bigger container where I'm also offering some spinal energetics. It's called Awakening Abundance, and it's an energy activation series for soulful success. Right now, you can step into the last 2 live sessions. One of them is today on Tuesday, September 9th, and the final one is on Friday, September 12th. And you will also receive the replays of all 3 sessions, so you can practice and go through the process on your own and also receive that distance healing through the spinal energetics. You know, the quantum realm is not dependent on space and time. And so honestly, the recordings actually really do work, sometimes more profoundly than in real space-time. So it's a powerful way, spinal energetics, to shift these patterns in your nervous systems so that your new choices can feel more expansive. They can feel not forced. You can start to move into these new areas in your life, whether it's mentally, emotionally, physically, energetically, or actually behaviorally, with more ease and more consistency. So I'm excited about this very beautiful offer, and I'd love to invite you in. And also, if you want to simply explore what it would be like to have a breakthrough session with me, I would love to offer you a complimentary coaching session, and we can explore what coaching might look like for you specifically, you can do something really simple like DM me the word coaching on Instagram or send me an email at harmony@harmonyslater.com, and I'll make sure that you get both the workshop invitation, the details for the Awakening Abundance, and invite you into a one-on-one session with me. So those are two really special offers that I want to open up for you. I'm feeling very generous right now with my energy and really abundant, and I would love to activate that same abundance in you. So without further ado, let's jump into this process, and you can experience some changes and shifts for yourself in your own awareness and energetic field as far as it relates to working through the process in a mental way or potentially even an emotional way and an embodied way. So I've had a lot of people reaching out to me about coaching, personal coaching, and curious about what that would look like and what kinds of things do people work on when they come into a coaching relationship, a coaching container with me, and what does it even mean to have a coach? You know, it's kind of a new thought, a new idea for a lot of people. And so for me, I've had a coach now for, I guess 5 years or 6 years. And, you know, coaches can really help you with all kinds of things. They help you to create results in an area of your life where you might be feeling stuck, where you've been trying to make progress, but you feel like you're not making progress anymore, or you're feeling blocked, where you know that you want more or you can be more, but you just aren't sure how, or you're lacking clarity, or you're feeling confused, or maybe you have a big decision, you're having trouble figuring out which way to go, or you just want to create consistency. So this could be in all kinds of things. It could be, you know, with your health. A lot of health coaches out there helping people to create habits and look at some of the emotional things that come up around why you may not be making healthy habits, or what's stopping you from doing the things that you want to do or you know you should do, but when it comes to 4 o'clock, you're just not doing them. And also, it could be in business and creating the results that you want in business. Or, you know, I want to get more students, but I don't feel like I want to show up on social media. Well, what's getting in the way? What is the belief that's underneath why you're not showing up on social media? And if we really look at that belief and start to question it, what happens? Does it dissolve? Can we see that it's just a thought? Does it have an emotional component? Does it have a memory attached to it? So really looking at all of these intricacies of how the mind, the body, the beliefs, the identity, who we think we are, who we feel like we are, the emotions, how they all work together. And so I want to take you through a little bit of an exercise when you're thinking about you want to make a change, but you're having trouble making a change, or you want to start a new habit or do something that you know would be good for you, but you're having trouble doing it, right? Or maybe you want to let go of a negative habit, but you're having trouble changing that pattern or that samskara, as we would say from the Yoga Shastra, and that pattern that's showing up in your life. This is a few steps you can do to really start to examine and explore either what you need to do to start a new pattern, a new habit, or how to let go of the thing that's getting in the way or holding you back. Or to stop doing something that you know, I just keep sabotaging myself with this thing, but I can't stop doing it. Or I want to stop doing it and I don't know how. So the first step is really to create clarity. And this is the first step that you want to do when making any kind of change, or also just if you know that there's something you want to do more, you want to be more, there's bigger dreams out there that I want to create or manifest, but I just don't exactly know what they are. So the first thing is to get clear. And so One way that you can do this is to journal or write down. You can answer the question, I want to be the sort of person who can, or I want to be the sort of person who does, or I want to be the sort of person who is. And so just answer those questions in whatever way, just whatever starts to come up for you, just get it down and free write what comes from your heart. And then when thinking about this new habit or this old habit that you want to change somehow, you can take a moment and just close your eyes if it's safe to do so and start to imagine if this habit or this problem was totally changed, was completely gone or completely established, what would change for you? That's a big one, right? What would change for you? Would you treat yourself better? Would you get to bed earlier? Would you believe something different about yourself? Would you believe that you were worth it? Would you believe that you deserved it? Would you buy yourself nicer clothes? What would change for you? Would you stop dating the wrong people? Would you spend more time with your family, with your kids? Would you leave that negative relationship or that person that is constantly creating negativity in your life? What would change for you? And then really looking at your identity. Who do you believe you are? Who do you want to be? And how does that person that you want to be, when this habit is established or when this negative thing is gone, how does that person act? What do they do? How do they dress? How do they walk? How do they hold themselves? How do they treat themselves? How do they treat other people? So getting really clear about the identity that you want to step into, because that's at the heart of this desire to change. And then you got to get really honest with yourself and examine, who are you now? Right? What is so important about making this change now? If you don't establish this habit, or if you don't let go of the negative habit, or the negative pattern, or make a change in your life in some way, whatever change that is, what happens? Where will you be in 2 years, in 5 years, in 10 years? Follow that trail, follow that map. Notice what happens if you don't change. So you get really tuned in to why it's so important for you. Why do you want it? And maybe at this point, you start to realize, I'm not changing because I don't really want to. And then you get to look at, is this something that I'm doing for other people, or is this something I'm doing for myself? What's my motivation? Is it because I want to appease someone, or is it because I feel like it's really beneficial? Am I doing this because I don't want people to judge me, or I want to please people, or someone in particular? Or am I doing it because it's coming from my heart and from my own feelings of want or desire? And then you can start to look at, why don't you want to do the thing? Whatever that change is. So why don't you want to change? How is the current habit, if you're trying to release something, how is that current thing serving you? How is it helping you? Because I truly believe that everything we do, even the things that are harmful to ourselves or that appear to be self-sabotaging, and perhaps in the long run are self-sabotaging or are harmful. In the moment, that habit is serving you in some way. That habit is trying to help you. So really understanding what is the deeper desire of that habit. What is the deeper desire of that pattern? It's a pattern in your life because it's giving you some relief in some way, right? Or it hasn't been a pattern in your life because you're perceiving that it's going to be painful, that it's going to create some kind of pain in some way. So looking at our relationship to this desire and really looking at what is the deeper desire. Why did you start doing it in the first place? Or why did you stop doing it in the first place? And why do you want to start doing it? So looking at all of those questions is really, really helpful. And then as you're going through this process of starting to maybe look at yourself in a little more honest way, and in also a way where you're maybe having some realizations that you didn't have prior to this process, really approaching yourself with compassion. So coming at it from a place of compassion, talking to yourself as if you were talking to a child that you loved. Expect that part of you is going to resist. Part of you is going to rebel. It is very, very natural to resist change. It's very natural to rebel against something new. That's usually our first instinct is no, I don't want it, or no, I don't like it, right? We have this natural tendency to resist anything that feels like it might cause potential discomfort. And so just recognizing and being with that part of you that is in resistance or is rebelling against it. And just as if you were being with a toddler or a child that you love that's having a tantrum inside. You know, you're not going to yell at them. You're not going to get down on them because it's their natural instinct. When there's something that they're used to, and if you're taking it away, or if you're trying to get them to do something that they normally don't have a habit of doing, you know it's going to be met with a little bit of resistance because change does that to us, right? If it was easy, we wouldn't have any problems. We would just have everything we want in our lives and be living the kind of life the way that we want all the time. But it's not always easy to change. It can be easy. Yes, we can make it easy. And the more we be with the resistance and be with the rebellion and expect it and have compassion with it and kindness to ourselves, the easier the change is because we get to love up on that part of us that's resisting change and just understand why it's resisting change, right? There's still a little child inside of you that's saying, no, I don't want to. I don't want it. It's going to be hard. Or, oh, but I like this thing. It gives me so much pleasure. Why are you taking it away? Right? And so what is the kindest, wisest version of yourself going to say to that younger part of you that's resisting or rebelling or crying or upset about the change? And that's a really beautiful space to start to kind of get into, is having this dialogue within yourself with the wisest, kindest, highest version of yourself and all the other parts. Because, there's also that coach or that cheerleader in there, or maybe that tyrant that's like, you just do it, get on with it. The discipliner, like, why are you being such a baby, right? That's also another part, maybe not the kindest, wisest version, but that part's also trying to help you in some way. So how can you also be with that part and also give it love and compassion, right? And then do things that help you feel strong. When you're trying to build in an area where you feel a little bit disempowered, a little bit weak, or where you feel like it's not a strong area for you, try to increase the areas in your life where you do feel strong, where you do feel empowered, because those areas are energy-rich areas of your life. And the same way that when I'm facilitating a spinal energetic session, we're trying to move energy from an energy-rich area and bring it into an area that's disconnected or sort of cut off from the whole, right? That's been segregated as a part. The same works in your life. Build on those energy-rich areas. So if you know that you feel so good in your yoga practice, make sure you double down on that. If you're trying to get rid of another habit, use the tools that give you strength and make you feel strong. If you're trying to create the habit of a consistent yoga practice in your life, or a consistent meditation practice, say, just as an example, and you don't feel very empowered in it, pair it with something that you do feel empowered with. So maybe you're like, I can practice asana. I love it. It makes me feel so good, but I don't feel great doing meditation. Well, maybe add the meditation after you've done the thing where you feel empowered. So do your asana practice and then add, 2, 3, 5 minutes of meditation afterwards, because that energy-rich area, the area where you feel strong and you feel empowered, will really help to feed into the area where you're feeling a little bit weak or disconnected or disempowered. And while you're doing all this, make sure you are, getting the rest you need, feeding yourself, hydrating, like really treating your body, your mind, your energy, your spirit, your whole system, all of the things with love and kindness and compassion, and reminding yourself that you can do hard things and you've done hard things. And you can even write down all of the things that you're proud of from the past, or all of the accomplishments that you've had in the past, or all of the ways that you have done hard things in your life. And just notice that pattern of negating or saying, well, of course, I remember I was in one of my group coaching sessions that I was leading. There was a bunch of yoga practitioners or teachers who were building yoga businesses. And I pointed out, like, you get up every day and do your practice. That's huge. That's a huge accomplishment. That's a massive feat. That's an amazing thing. You should really celebrate yourself and be proud of yourself. Really take a moment to acknowledge that you're doing a hard thing every day and celebrate yourself in that. And the woman I was talking to was like, yeah, but that's just what I do. That's just expected. That's normal, right? And so we often kind of negate or discount the ways that we are showing up for ourselves. And we say, oh, well, that's just, the way that I should do it, or the way that it's done. But it's not true. When you look at it from the perspective of all of the people in the world, there's so many people that don't show up for themselves, even in that way, even in the smallest ways. And so really acknowledging and celebrating the ways that you are showing up for yourself, and giving yourself grace around the ways where you might be struggling or finding it difficult. Just trusting with a sense of grace, trusting with a sense of surrender, and trusting with a sense of compassion that you can take small, consistent steps forward. And so, our nervous system doesn't need to get better at handling stress. Our nervous system handles stress really, really well. We often do things to try to de-stress, right? And so we need to get a little bit better at relaxing, at softening, at not being in a fighting mode all the time, in a disciplined mode all the time, but in a mode that allows us to learn to relax without needing to, take a substance, or without needing to completely zone out on television or something like that, right? We need to give ourselves enough space and enough intention in our lives to build in periods of relaxation so that our nervous system, can come down a little bit from needing to handle stress all the time. And when we start to regulate, this is why we feel often very good on vacation, right? Is our nervous system starts to regulate in a way where it doesn't feel like it has to be handling, an emergency every other hour of the day. And so giving ourselves these breaks and these times, and even just acknowledging that we have those breaks and times during the day. Sometimes maybe you have 20 minutes and you're just like, I'm really tired right now. Well, instead of going for another coffee, maybe just say, I'm just going to lie down, take Shavasana, or I'm just going to breathe, or I'm going to take 2 minutes and meditate and just let my nervous system really relax and come into itself again. It doesn't take long, it takes maybe 2 minutes to just drop in and find that space. Let yourself decompress from that space of sympathetic activation, that fight or flight response, into the parasympathetic activation, which is rest and digest. And you'll notice that as you allow yourself the space and time to do that, that you'll start to make better choices and you'll start to feel stronger in your resolve and in your intention. And also, don't get down on yourself. Letting go of perfection and just celebrating the progress, even if it's just small steps or a little bit of progress, really acknowledging what you're proud of and giving yourself the space to really be proud of it, right? And it's the same if you have a child and they take one step and fall down. We don't get mad at them. We're like, why didn't you take 10 steps? Why'd you fall down today? Right? When you're building new patterns and new habits, we celebrate even the smallest steps forward. Okay? And when we fall or we go back or we don't do the thing that we said we wanted to do or have trouble executing on the thing, we get curious and slow down and start to try to understand on a deeper level what's going on, what's happening, without judgment, without shame, just really starting to get curious. What is going on? And often it's an emotional level that's being triggered. And as humans, we sometimes are not very good at being with our emotions. And especially, I feel, if you practice Ashtanga yoga, often we are not very equipped to be with our emotional selves. We think we can practice our way out of our emotional body. But we cannot. It's going to be there and it's going to come up in different ways. And so really just being with those parts of ourselves without judgment, without shame, with pure acceptance, and just compassion and understanding, really trying to understand yourself with love and warmth and kindness. So hopefully that gives you an idea of some of the process that I go through with my clients, maybe not all in one session, but over a series of sessions. Usually I work with clients for 6 months and we go deep into these different aspects of ourselves. And often it brings up a lot of memories, a lot of exploration into some of the patterns that are in our personalities, and we all have them, and really making positive changes, those positive changes that you want to make that you feel like, I don't know, I can't seem to do it on my own. Or if you're just feeling really alone and like, I don't have any support, I don't have anyone who's helping me in this, I'm so alone and I feel like I'm doing it all by myself. That's really where coaching becomes such a valuable and essential tool and asset and relationship in your life. It's like the difference between practicing Ashtanga yoga on your own, in a room, at home, alone, day after day after day, and then going into a yoga space and having a teacher, right? Or at least showing up for a teacher, having a teacher there to support your practice. Or also a community. If it's a group coaching situation, having a community of people to hold you, to support you, to keep you going. Because it's hard trying to do it all alone. It's really, really hard. And we are not built for it, actually. We are built for community. We are built to heal in community. We are built to transform in community. We are built to be in relationship. And yoga itself is essentially about relationship. And so coaching is also about relationship, coming into a deeper relationship with yourself, with your dreams, with your heart, and also having a relationship with someone else who can help to mirror back to you the things that you're not seeing so that you can see your blind spots more clearly. So you can see the things that you're trying not to see or you just really don't know are there. When someone mirrors them back to you, you go, oh, right. Yeah. Right? It gives you that moment and that time and that space to really acknowledge what's going on. And often so much of our behavior, our actions, our patterns are unconscious. They're things that we're doing out of habit, or they're things we're doing to protect ourselves from feeling or having to remember certain things or deal with certain things or have certain emotions. And so really having somebody there to walk with you along that path, to be with you so you don't have to do it alone. And the truth is you won't do it alone, really. Or if you do, it will take you much, much longer than having someone there who's walking beside you and supporting you every step of the way and is really helping you to see where maybe you're not showing up for yourself or where you're hiding from yourself, and can hold a beautiful space, compassionate space for you to make the changes you want to make in your life and to create the clarity that you deserve so that you can have the life, the business, the relationships, the health that you want, that you deserve, that are here for you in this lifetime, in this body, in this situation. It's all here for you. You just have to be brave enough and courageous enough and bold enough to step up and say, I want it and I'm here for it and I'm going to show up for it. So that is all about coaching. And if you have never worked with a coach or you're curious about what it would be like to be in a coaching container and have a relationship with a coach, I would love to connect with you. You can reach out to me on Instagram at Harmony Slater Official. You can find me on my website as well at harmonyslater.com and send me an email or send in a coaching application form, and I would love to see if it's a fit and work with you if it is a fit. So if you have any questions though, just shoot me a message on Instagram. I would love to help you sort through whatever it is that's coming up for you after listening to this podcast episode. And just believe in yourself. If I can leave you with anything, it is you deserve it. And there's going to be some discomfort that might come from your desire to change. Always, there's a little discomfort when we try to change, but there's also power in making the change. And the more you show up for yourself, the more empowered you're going to feel and the faster the change is going to happen. And so it's going to be an incredible journey. It is an incredible journey, and your life is yours to create. It's yours to make, and it's yours to do whatever you want with. And I'm excited to see what you decide to do with it. Thank you so much for being here with me today. If this episode sparks something inside you, remember, there are still 2 live sessions left in my Awakening Abundance Energy Activation series for Soulful Success. I'd invite you to come in and join us. It's a really, really powerful container with spinal energetics, coaching, and teaching. And you'll also receive all of the replays, so you haven't missed a thing. Together, we're doing very, very deep energetic work to align, release, and activate this next season of success in your life. And if you're feeling called to go even deeper into a private breakthrough session with me, you can hop on a call. Simply DM me coaching in Instagram or email me at my email address, which is harmony@harmonyslater.com. And remember, your body already knows the way. If you're getting that tingling feeling, if you're feeling called to really step into that next level, I would love to support you and walk with you along the path. I look forward to connecting with you next time. That's it. We've concluded another episode of the Finding Harmony podcast. I just want to thank you so much for doing the work that changes the world, starting with yourself. It truly does make a huge difference. Please make sure you have your automatic downloads turned on wherever you listen so you don't miss any of the upcoming episodes. I have so much more magic I can't wait to share with you. Lastly, if you're on Instagram, I love connecting and hearing from you. So come on over and say hello at Finding Harmony Podcast. And you can also come say hello to me personally at Harmony Slater Official. Thank you again for being here. I cannot wait to share more with you in our next episode.